And welcome to the Coach's Corner post-game show. Bobcats get a big win tonight, number 41, which means
they can't have worse than 500. They're going to have not a losing record.
A non-losing season. And as a coach, I know that Coach Clifford mentioned that. That's something that is so important to a coach. When you know that you can go through the season and everybody wants to say losing season. Well, he's avoided that.
Can't say that.
And to be a first-year coach,
that's great.
First-year coach of a team that 2 years ago won 7 ball games gets my vote for Coach of the Year.
Increased their win total 7 times in 2 years. I mean, that's ridiculous. They've really come a long way.
And again, too, I think the fans appreciate that. When you look tonight for the game, I know it's fan appreciation night, but 1,140 people. I counted every one of them.
Yep.
Even the guy who left early, I counted him before he left. Before he left, or maybe he just went to the restroom.
Maybe.
But again, how many times did you have to dance in front of maybe 5,000 people?
There were a lot of times, especially, the first 2006 on my first year, and, the team's not winning, maybe 20-something games, a season. A weeknight game, a Monday night game was brutal. And don't let the weather be nice outside because nobody's coming in here. So it was definitely, it's nice to see on a consistent basis that, they're filling the stands, lower and upper, levels. People are excited. People are into the games. They're not just here for a social event. They're actually here to see the games and to cheer on our team.
And you got to consider today that the Bobcats were competing with the Darlington race down the way. And to be honest with you, I'm a huge NASCAR fan.
Country.
And I don't even know who won the race tonight, though.
I have no idea. I didn't even follow it.
I heard that Junior was running 5th one time, but I saw when I went to the restroom, I saw that or on my text messages. But you're also competing with the Masters this weekend. You're competing with colleges all around playing their spring football games. So for the Bobcats to come in, and were the Knights at home tonight?
They were home.
So you've got another one right there. But for them to put, 1,700 people in here plus people
17,000.
17,000, excuse me.
There we go.
17,000, yes. I'm about to cheat. I have a recount on here. I was going to have to go back, stop them in the parking lot and recount them real quick. Right there, though. So over 17,000 again. That is something good. And that's something I think the Bobcats can be proud of, all the way around and pat themselves on the back of the job they've done of marketing their product this year.
I feel like the team's always been really good at marketing and branding, and because when they weren't good, they had to do something to get people to want to come to these games.
And they were called Lady Cats. You were one of them.
I was a selling point.
I can honestly say that for several years, y'all were the bright spot of coming to the game, and y'all had to carry the load. And I'm not being funny on that either, though. I'm being truthful.
True. It's very true. You're not the first person that I've heard that from, but just the game experience. The tickets are reasonable. There's a lot of in-game entertainment, Lady Cats, contests, just things to get the fans involved. So, I don't understand why people don't come. I think they do a great job marketing this team, and now that they're winning, just makes it even, all the more reason to come.
Bobcats have had a busy week. I think 4 games this week. Went 3-1. I think they are 6-1 in their last 7 games. I had not really thought about this until I heard it mentioned on an NBA show the other night that Bobcats were, since the All-Star break, like the 4th winningest team in the league. Right there. And Kenny Smith even made the suggestion or comment that he would not be surprised to see the Bobcats to pull off a first-round upset.
I wouldn't be surprised one bit, especially if we get that 6th seed. If we're playing Toronto, we've got that. I can feel it.
That would be good because I know we match up better than them. You wonder when the Pacers are going to break out this funk they're in.
Those changes they made did not work out well for them. No. They had really good chemistry, and I don't know why they shook that up, but it has not played out well for them, and I can only hope that it continues to not play out well for them.
and you bring up a good point, chemistry. That we had the opportunity. It was kind of fun that there was not a lot of media in there just to get a chance to sit down. We had a good one-on-one with Cody Zeller, rookie player tonight who, I was about ready to send him back to Indiana University after about the first month or so, saying he's not ready, though. But the guy, to his credit, he's come on, he's learned. He has not rushed the process. He's learned from a great group of veteran players, and he's making a nice contribution. They plugged him in when Robertson needed a couple of games off with an injury. He stepped up, really played well there. But, we talked about how important chemistry is.
Absolutely.
And anything you do, getting along with the people you work with, and like he was saying, that he's had a ball this year.
Yep.
And when it's fun to come to practice and not have to dread it, and fun to be around the guys you're with, to go out and eat and play and do things like that, you're going to accomplish great things. I know what Emerson said, nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm.
Very true.
And I think that that's something, you can take from that the Bobcats, because I can remember, and I'm not going to call names, but people know who a lot of the players were last year that pouted all the time, that had a chip on their shoulders, and they were released.
Yeah.
But it was almost, as a coach, the last thing you want to have to do is worry about babysitting players, because there's so many things you got to teach them, but the chemistry's been great with the Bobcats this year.
Absolutely. I think that's been a huge factor. And, for him to be a rookie and to be able to come in and say that the first team he's ever been on, it's been a great experience. And, he has veteran players around him to help him learn and grow. And, like as he said, they go out all the time and do things outside of that, and it definitely reflects on the court. He said that there are teams that, they said this locker room isn't typical. So I hope whatever they're doing now, I hope they just keep, bringing in the right people to continue to grow that team chemistry. And
you better than anybody know, too, the opportunities that the Bobcats give the team, Lady Cats and all, to work together as a team in the community, doing things other than practicing basketball, where you have to get out and, maybe go visit sick kids and all. But these things are all chemistry builders, too.
Absolutely. They're the Cats are great in the community. I know they used to be called Cats Care. I think it's still called that. But I still volunteer on Thanksgiving Day at the at Urban Ministries to serve Thanksgiving dinner. And Fred Whitfield, Seth Bennett, they're always there every single year. They do street turkeys. They're always collecting, at the doghouse, they're bringing in turkeys and feeding, the homeless or whatever. Like you said, hospital visits. They're always very visible in the community, and I think that's a huge team builder for, the on and off the court. And you were a member of what kind of team here that won what now? A two-time championship dance team.
That's right. I mean, NBA champions. And who can claim that?
Nobody.
There is not another NBA dance team out there that can claim that.
Well, the Heat can claim that. They won a couple times.
I never heard of it, so I don't give them credit for it.
Then we'll go with that. But
right.
they're not the defending champions.
Right. After you won it 2 times, they quit doing it because then everybody had a chance.
Nope. We're just going to keep sweeping it.
There you go. I mean, and that's the thing, too. I mean, because of the camaraderie that y'all had in working things, that I think that people just don't realize the importance of being able to get along and work together. Absolutely. Our team chemistry, we always had really great team chemistry, but, it just the fact that the team grew and was so good together, and that just made us better on the court. And from that's when more opportunities come about, such as calendar, such as the girls talked about tonight, international travel. That wasn't an option to the Bobcats or the Lady Cats in the beginning, because nobody knew our team or our brand. We were brand new, and so it just shows what hard work and team chemistry and people getting along and everybody wanting to do their part to meet the common goal will get you. You are watching the Coach's Corner tonight. Kristy Palmer, my co-host with me here. We're discussing Bobcats win tonight. I forgot what the score was. You know what? The score doesn't really matter. What matters is it's a W and that they got the 41st win now. Now, the Bobcats have got 2 games next week. Both of them are still important because the Bobcats are still chasing 6th place. They let it get away last night by, as the players felt like, just a poor performance with the Celtics, that they kind of, I think, Al Jefferson put it, that they didn't know whether the Celtics were going to roll over and play dead or whatever. But the Celtics, one thing, when you play the Boston Celtics, I've been a Celtics fan once I was just a little fella. It's called something called Celtic pride. Yeah. And those guys have got it. If you're going to ever put on a Celtic green uniform, now I was pulling for the Bobcats last night. I'll have to admit that, though, because the Celtics got already all their players. But, when you come from an organization like that, you take pride. Absolutely. And I think they said last night, Al said that was an eye-opener last night. I think that they felt like that Boston, with 3 games left, would roll over and play dead for them going in there, that they were on a roll. They'd won 5 in a row. Well, you got to play every night out in the NBA. Absolutely. When I think somebody said the Celtics are up by 30 right now, so obviously they're trying to end, we've talked about this before. It's, end the season on a high note. You want momentum for next season. So I don't think anybody's purposely, tanking it. Nobody's tanking it. And that was even the 76ers. They're not taking. They may not be winning a lot, but they're playing their hardest. And the thing that people got to realize too, these guys that are out of it, like Boston, like Philadelphia, these players are playing for their meal ticket for next year. Because they could very easily, if the coach sees, hey, he tanked it going down the stretch, then you don't want somebody on that team. That's a cancer. Absolutely. It's an audition. It's an audition right now for a job. And if there's not a space for you on your team next year, then you're auditioning for one of 30 other teams out there next year. So teams, these
Mm-hmm.
teams are not going to make the playoffs, but these guys are fighting for, where their meals for their family are coming from next year.
Absolutely. Playing on a professional level, and this is obviously something that I'm sure these guys have dreamed of since they were 5 years old. I just can't imagine going out and not playing, giving it my best. So I don't think it's in their DNA to go out there and tank.
and again, a lot of these same guys too that have sat there all year long on the bench, now that they're out of it, they're getting a chance because the coach wants to evaluate talent to see what have I got on my bench. Does this person have any potential? Do we need to release them and all? And this is a chance for some of these teams players to step up and show what they can do. And I think the Bobcats have kind of gotten caught up in this the last two nights, where, like Coach Clifford said, they took a deep breath because they got the playoffs clinched on Monday.
Yep.
And then they finally got that sixth spot that they've been chasing so hard with Washington, that if you sit back and you start patting yourself on the back and you start feeling good and relax with that, well, you get the carpet pulled out from under you like last night.
Yep, you're going to slip up. And, last night, they lost. Tonight they were fortunate enough to still, be able to pull it out. And I guess that's all that matters. But, as Coach Clifford was talking about, they've got to step it back up on defense. That's how they played tonight, and last night is not what got them here. They definitely are going to have to, he said, get back down the court, get back on defense. If they're going to make a playoff run, that has to happen.
And that's something as a coach you're really worried about, because you played with such intensity. You were chasing. It was almost like for 2.5, 3 weeks, you were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You had to win to keep it going. Well, then you get there, it's almost like it's hey, this is great, but a little bit of a letdown.
Right.
And if you start going back and you start letting off the gas and you start letting bad habits, you can't turn it back on.
You're not going to pick it back up.
You can't.
So, and you even said it, the playoffs start Monday for us.
They do.
When we play Atlanta, that's a playoff game. It needs to be playoff intensity from here on out.
And Coach Clifford made the point tonight on how 41 wins was important to him. He pushed that. They got that. Now, the thing they need to look at, Atlanta has kicked their tail, I don't know how many times in a row that Charlotte has lost Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's a bunch. It's a bunch. I can't remember now, though, but it has been several years since the Bobcats have beat the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
And that ought to be a goal right there, is first you go back and try to beat them. Then you come in, you've got the Bulls, who is a upper echelon playoff team. That is game 2 of your playoffs, is the way you got to approach it. And then you find out who you're going to go into a several game series with and go from there, though. But this is a week, as Coach Tony would say if he's sitting here with us, this is a Fido week. Forget it and drive home.
Okay.
Fido.
I haven't heard that.
Remember that, Fido. Forget it and drive home.
Okay.
So this is Fido week right here. Well, we Fido it. After we leave out of here tonight, they Fido it. They got a day off tomorrow.
Yep.
You come back in with practice or whatever you need to do, and then you got to start gearing it back up again.
They've got to pick it up. I don't know how else to say it. They've got to pick it up and start playing with the same intensity that they have all season. Keep doing the things that got you here.
And I think they will. And again, we look at it right now, and it's been said several times, all year long when somebody goes down, somebody's always stepped up. And again, when you lose your number 2 scorer, and that was one thing I kind of was trying to get Coach Clifford's feel on, guys right now are so geared into their game at this point about they know how many shots they take. They know what shots they take. You lose your second leading scorer, and sometimes it's hard for you to say, hey, I got to shoot 10 more times a game tonight. I've got to do this. I've got to do that, because they've been successful playing within the team scheme of things that didn't happen the last 2 games. And somebody stepping up. I thought Luke tried to do that tonight.
I'm surprised you're not calling out Mr. Henderson.
Well, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do that then. I'm going to say that, though, that I have been, and she knows because she had to listen to me fussing and ranting and raving during the game and coming to the game, too. But I was disappointed Gerald Henderson did not take the lead on this. He's a co-captain of the team. He's been on this team longer than anybody on the team and should know that Kemba goes down. I'm a part of the big 3. Me, Al, and Kemba are the big 3 of this team. I've got to up my game and take it to another level. And I don't think he's done that. That both nights he's taken 8 shots. His percentage was right around 50%, but somebody's got to pick up 18 points a game for Kemba. And again, I think that's where one of your team captains has got to step up and do that. And I don't know if Kemba's going to be ready to go for Monday night's game. Hopefully he'll be ready to go back. Everybody be full speed when the playoffs start in next weekend, though. But again, he's got to be the leader on this team from that standpoint of stepping up to give them more scoring, because he's capable.
Right.
And last year at this point, before Al came, who did they set the screens for to take all the big shots at end of games for?
Henderson.
All coming off screen. He'd come off that screen on that curl move, be looking for that shot. Well, I haven't seen that this year.
I haven't either. And, finally, fourth quarter, he, stepped it up, took it to the basket.
Straight to the hole and laid it in for a layup.
Yep.
Because he was determined, I've got to score. This team has come back. They've cut the lead to 4 on us. This is going to be embarrassing if we lose to a 17 and 63 team. I've got to do something. Well, that light's got to come on in the first quarter. We're doing that. When he sees Kemba Walker sitting over there in street clothes, he's got to do that in the first quarter, not in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go.
Hopefully it was a lesson learned tonight.
And hopefully, Gerald, watch this. Again, we love you. We're pulling for you in there, but as a former coach, coming home from Columbia last night after a ball game, I had some choice things I would have probably said if I had been coaching last night.
You were texting the wrong people.
Yes, I did. I texted my sister, and she didn't know who you were, Gerald Henderson.
Who's Gerald Henderson?
Right. And why did he not show up, and something else didn't show up, and worth a hoot or something like that? She has no idea what I was talking about, so I had to clear that up there, though. But I guess the coach in me is very competitive. Still, even when we lose a game, I'm upset.
I know.
And I guess when you come to 41 games, you care.
You do care. Absolutely. And you've seen them come so far, and
right.
Like you said, to work so hard to get that 6th seed.
And I'm sure you feel the same way with the games. And I'm sure you feel this way too. If somebody screws up with the Lady Cats out there and is not pulling their weight, that you probably want to kick somebody's tail too, wouldn't you?
I'll tell them about it. Wouldn't be the first time I told them. I'm kidding.
I like it. Right there, though. So you're watching the Coach's Corner Sports Talk Show and motivational time right now, though. But again, the season's winding down and all, and what do you anticipate with playoffs coming up? How's it going to be for the playoffs? Because you were a part of everything that went in, got to be there firsthand, the thrill, excitement about that of the playoffs. How do you think it's going to be second time around?
I think it's going to be even bigger and better. I think there's going to be so much excitement from the fans. People have obviously bought into this team. I think the name change has a lot to do with that, but the team actually winning and making the playoffs, and the Bobcats going out with a bang, I think it's going to be huge. People are going to want to, send the Bobcats name off with, a lot of excitement. I think this go around we're actually going to win some games in the playoffs versus getting swept. For the first, back in 2009, 2010, when they first made the playoffs, first time ever in franchise history, you're happy to be there. Now you want to progress and win games. And then, like I said, depending on who they get, if we're playing Toronto, I don't see why we couldn't win that series and keep, move on to the next round. If we play the Pacers, it's still a possibility.
Right.
I mean, not as confident as if we play the Pacers, but I definitely see us going a lot further than we have in the past.
And again, I agree with you right there that the first time through, excited to be there, first time ever. It was a first there. Well, this time the teams you can either be matched up with, either the Pacers or with the Raptors you beat this year.
Yep.
And it's teams you can beat. I think that we actually had the series on Toronto where we won the series with them. The last time Pacers came here, just drilled them here.
Yep.
And added to their process, but it was a 30 point blowout. Yep. Here or there, though. And I think this team, I don't think they could beat Miami in a best-of-7 series, but I think that they are capable of playing with Miami and winning a game or two.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the difference where this team knows they belong in the playoffs.
Yep.
There's a difference in belonging and sliding in the back door as an 8 seed.
Right.
Just happy to get there, get your check, get on TV, play white out, get you a T-shirt, and go home and say we were there. This team don't want to do that.
No, they want to make some noise, and I think they're very capable of doing that.
And that noise you hear, we are coming to you live from Time Warner the cable box tonight here. They are setting up for hockey tomorrow. But again, repeating, the Bobcats did win tonight's ball game. They've got their 41st win of the season. Kristy Palmer and I were just talking a little bit about the game and about the upcoming playoffs. What do you see keys being to the 2 games next week? What have they got to do to finish the regular season on a positive note and then get ready for the playoffs?
Like I said, just kind of doing what got you here. Playing defense, being hard, playing hard defense all game from start to finish. They only showed up in really the third quarter today. You can't do that next week. You have to, like we said, treat it like the playoffs. Your playoffs start on Monday. And just, make a statement with your last 2 games, win them, and, go into the playoffs with some winning momentum.
All right, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Oh, no.
This is going to be a really hard one. Your coach, Steve Clifford, right here.
Yep.
If you've got a choice of taking a chance and playing Kemba and maybe still getting that 6th seed, Do you do it, or do you rest him and want to try to have him ready to go full speed and maybe go for the 7th seed?
This is why I'm not a coach, but my gut tells me not to play him. A groin injury, if that just happened and they think that he's going to be back on Monday just because he felt a little better today, I see those as lingering, and I just think you rest him as much as you can. I wouldn't chance it, especially seeing how the team's played without him. I think he's obviously needed.
And that's the thing too that I'm going to go along with you right there too. You see how important he is these last 2 ball games, but you see how important you need to have him for the big
Absolutely.
for the big
when
thing that you've set
really
your goals. Because you know what, when they start next Friday, next Saturday, whatever, everybody is 0-0.
Yep.
It's not 41-41 or 43-39 or whatever like that. Everybody's 0-0, and who's to say? You know, Toronto is right now maybe playing better basketball that I know that Charles Barkley said that's the sleeper team to watch out for. It may be better though, but I think what you want to do, in my opinion, kind of with you, is I think you want to go into the playoffs with a healthy team.
Absolutely. We saw, I mean, when Big Al was hurt this season, we've seen how great this team can be when everybody's healthy, so I don't think you can chance it.
No.
I'm glad I don't have to make these hard decisions.
That's what I got the little bucks for doing all those years. And the bad thing was I couldn't ask you. I had to make those decisions on the spur of the moment right there. And that's why you always have to play the game in your mind the day before you play it to know it. That's what I always tell my players to do on the night before game. Go home. Here's our game plan. Go home and play the game in your mind.
Visualize it.
Because it's such a fast-moving game, you've got to know. You ain't got time to yell over there and ask me, what do I do? You've got to make a decision. And the same thing in coaching. That's what I had to do, is play the game in my mind. If somebody gets 2 quick fouls, do I yank them? Do I pull them? Do I keep them? What do you do?
Right.
That's what you got to do.
Yep. Clifford, he's a smart guy. I think obviously he's been the man for the job. So whatever he goes with, obviously I'm not in that profession for a reason. I will back him whatever he decides.
So, and I support him on that too. I think this coaching staff, again, gets my vote for coaching staff of the year. Has done a great job. Enjoy hearing what he's got to say after the game. Very refreshing. Again, he knows what he's doing. I'm glad to see the Bobcats gave him his chance.
Absolutely.
Great move on their part.
Very good move. You hate to see coaches come in and as a one and done, trying to, like we've said, chemistry is important. And they've had way too many coaches for the amount of years that they've been here, but I feel like they got it right this time.
And again, I'm not trying to be mean because I was a coach and all like that, but very good move of seeing that something had to have been done just after 1 year last year, that it was not working, it's not the right fit, and it was done, and they've got the right person.
Yeah, the fact that they recognized that so soon and corrected it, and so that you're not setting yourself back even more, for several more years.
So, well, it's been fun having Kristy back in the seat with me tonight, though. And then we'll have to get you back in the playoffs here.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it again right there, though. So, again, we have been talking basketball tonight, Bobcat basketball. Bobcats get win number 41 as a part of the Coach's Corner. Our show has been brought to you by our friends at the Beacon Drive-In, by our friends at the Westside Club, which I need to go visit again real soon. I need to get back in the gym there. They'll probably keep me from getting hurt and being in trouble right there. And also our friends at Vic Bailey Volkswagen, by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, by Larry's Trophies, and by Concoction Ministries. If I go and do all those places, I'll be a better rounded person and probably can stay out of trouble.
Yeah, you've got a lot of friends.
Well, and I've hit every one of them up. But I do appreciate them who believe in what we're doing, though. So we'll be back with you to talk playoffs. Yes, playoffs again here real soon. She's Kristy Palmer. I'm the coach, Dick Cox. Have a good weekend, everybody.